Imagine this moment. She looks right at you, and then she steps back. The warmth fades, the replies slow, the distance grows, and something inside you whispers, I'm losing her. But what if you're not losing her at all? What if that distance is the first real sign that you've touched something deep inside her she doesn't know how to handle yet? Because when an avoidant woman starts to fall for you, she doesn't lean in. She pulls away. Welcome back to Female Code Unlocked, the place where we decode what's really happening beneath the silence, the mixed signals, and the emotional contradictions. If this kind of psychological truth resonates with you, take a second, subscribe, and stay close. You're not here by accident. Now listen carefully. You've been here before. Everything feels aligned. The conversations are rich. The energy is magnetic. She opens up just enough to make you feel chosen. And then, suddenly, she becomes distant, colder, less available, almost guarded. And the mistake most men make is assuming that distance means disinterest. But for an avoidant woman, distance is not rejection, it's self-protection. You see, avoidant attachment isn't about not wanting connection. It's about fearing what connection costs. When you begin to matter to her, you stop being safe. At first, you were light, optional, easy to engage with because there was nothing to lose. But the moment she felt something real, the moment you became emotionally relevant, her nervous system sounded the alarm. Avoidant women were wired early to believe that closeness equals danger, that dependency leads to disappointment, that needing someone gives them power to hurt you. So when she feels herself leaning in, she does the only thing she knows how to do. She pulls away. Not because you failed, but because you succeeded. Notice the pattern. She still watches your stories. She still responds, just slower. She still cares, but she acts like she doesn't. That's not indifference. That's internal conflict. She's fighting two forces at once: desire pulling her toward you, and fear dragging her back into emotional isolation. And here's the dark truth most people won't tell you. The stronger the emotional pull she feels, the harsher the pushback becomes. To her, you're not just a man anymore. You're a mirror, reflecting intimacy she never learned how to hold. So she creates space. She convinces herself she needs freedom. She tells herself she's better alone. But none of that erases the feeling. This is why chasing her right now destroys everything. Because pursuit confirms her deepest fear, that closeness equals loss of control. The more you reach, the more she retreats. The more you explain, the more she shuts down. And suddenly you're confused, exhausted, questioning your worth. But this isn't about your value. It's about her wiring. Avoidant attachment doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to safety without demand. When you remain calm in the distance, when you don't punish her for pulling away, when you don't beg, accuse, or collapse emotionally, something subtle happens. Her nervous system starts to settle. She notices that closeness with you doesn't lead to chaos. That connection doesn't cost her autonomy. That she can step back, and you don't disappear or explode. And that's when curiosity replaces fear. Because the man who doesn't chase, the man who stays grounded in silence, becomes the one she feels safest returning to. But this is only the beginning. Because if you respond the wrong way at this stage, you don't just lose her interest, you lock her avoidant patterns in permanently. There's a moment most men never notice, a quiet psychological shift that happens after she pulls away. On the surface, it looks like detachment, but underneath, something else is happening. She's watching how you respond, not consciously, instinctively. Avoidant women don't test with words, they test with absence. When she creates distance, she's not asking, "Will you chase me?" She's asking something far more revealing. "Will you remain stable, even when I'm not available?" Because in her past, closeness always came with consequences. Someone needed too much. Someone demanded reassurance. Someone collapsed emotionally when she pulled back. So she learned a rule early on. If I don't let anyone get too close, I stay safe. That rule kept her alive emotionally, but it also kept her lonely. And now, here you are. Different. When you don't flood her with messages, when you don't interrogate her silence, when you don't try to fix the distance, you quietly violate her expectations. At first, she tells herself she doesn't care. She distracts herself. She leans into independence. But then something uncomfortable creeps in. She starts missing you, not in a dramatic, romantic way, in a quiet, unsettling way. She notices your absence in the spaces where your presence used to live. The calm, the emotional steadiness, the way you didn't need her to regulate yourself. And that's when the avoidant paradox activates. The space she created to feel safe now feels empty. This is where most men ruin it. Because when she finally reappears, a casual text, a soft check-in, a subtle re-engagement, they either punish her for disappearing or reward her with emotional overload. Both confirm her fear. Punishment tells her closeness equals conflict. Overinvestment tells her closeness equals suffocation. The man who wins here does neither. He stays warm, but ungrasping. Present, but not clinging. Open, but not demanding. And that's deeply unsettling to her nervous system. Because for the first time, connection doesn't feel like a trap. She begins associating you with emotional safety. Not excitement, not intensity. Safety. And for an avoidant woman, safety is intoxicating. This is also why she may push away again, harder this time. Because now the feelings are real. The more emotionally secure she feels with you, the more her old conditioning panics. So the cycle repeats. Pull close, pull away. Each time testing the same question. Will you still be yourself, even if I can't fully give you me yet? And here's the part most people don't understand. Avoidant attachment isn't healed through reassurance. It's healed through consistency without pressure. You don't convince her she's safe. You show her by not changing, by not chasing when she distances, by not withdrawing emotionally to punish her, by not turning cold to regain control. You stay grounded, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, her defenses start to soften. She begins opening in fragments. A deeper message, a vulnerable admission, a moment of emotional honesty she quickly laughs off. Those moments matter, because avoidant women don't leap into intimacy. They test it in pieces. And every time you meet those moments without trying to consume them, without demanding more, you rewire her emotional expectations. Until one day, she realizes something that terrifies her. She feels closer to you than she's felt to anyone in a long time. And this time, she doesn't want to run. But this stage is fragile, because there's one response, one subtle mistake, that will make her disappear for good. And almost every man makes it. There's a moment when her fear and her desire collide. You can feel it before you see it. Her tone softens. She stays in conversations longer. She lets the silence breathe instead of escaping it. And that's when she does something that feels confusing. She pulls away again, not abruptly, not dramatically, but just enough to see if you'll change. This is the most dangerous phase, because now you're no longer optional to her. You're emotionally significant, and significance is exactly what her nervous system was trained to avoid. So she tests the edge. She delays replies. She becomes vague about plans. She acts busy in a way that feels intentional. This isn't manipulation. It's self-preservation. She's trying to answer one question. If I step back now, will he collapse, control, or remain grounded? Most men fail here because they feel the shift and panic. They ask what's wrong. They seek reassurance. They try to pull her closer emotionally to stop the loss they feel coming. And the moment they do, she disappears. Because to her, that behavior confirms the story she's always believed. Closeness costs freedom. But when you don't react, when your energy stays steady, your tone stays warm, your life remains full, something inside her fractures in the best possible way. She realizes you're not attaching to her out of need. You're choosing her from abundance. That distinction changes everything. Avoidant women don't fear intimacy. They fear emotional responsibility. They fear being the source of someone else's stability. So when you remain self-contained, even in her absence, you remove that burden. And she begins to lean in, voluntarily, not because you pulled her, but because she finally feels safe enough to choose. This is where attraction deepens beyond chemistry, because desire without safety burns out, but desire with safety attaches. She starts sharing things she never planned to say. Old wounds, past disappointments, moments where she felt trapped or overwhelmed by closeness. And here's the crucial part. Do not try to fix her. Do not promise you'll be different from everyone else. Do not reassure her endlessly. Just listen. Your calm presence is the medicine. Avoidant attachment softens in the presence of someone who doesn't need to be needed. And if you hold this correctly, something remarkable happens. She stops pushing away. Not all at once, but gradually. The space between closeness and distance shortens. The withdrawals become less severe. The returns become warmer. Until one day you realize she's staying. Not because she has to, but because she wants to. And you never forced a thing. That's the paradox of avoidant attachment. The more you allow her freedom, the more she chooses connection. And the man who understands this doesn't chase love. He creates the conditions where love feels safe enough to stay. If this shifted how you see her behavior, if it finally gave meaning to the silence, subscribe to Female Code Unlocked. Because the signals were never random, they were psychological. And once you can read them, you stop guessing. You start seeing.